Do you want to know how amazing people connect? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie.
Thanks for connecting. And if you like what you hear, please share.
Special thank you to our sponsors, the Oaks at Lebanon, Retirement and Assisted Living, and the Alzheimer's Association. Special thanks to Jim Becker for underwriting that ad. For more information on the Alzheimer's Association and how to give to this amazing organization, go to alz.org or look for the link for the Walk to End Alzheimer's. Also, special thanks to the Oaks at Lebanon, Retirement and Assisted Living for leading the charge with the Walk to End Alzheimer's. To find out more about the Oaks, call 541-258-7777. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday. It's ready to go. Well, maybe wherever you are, Monday is mostly over, but where I am, it's just starting, ready to go, and I am excited. You know, I look at every Monday as a new opportunity, and I get to start it here with you on Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Always glad for the amazing community that joins in, and we're going to have a great time today with Amy. She is an amazing individual. I can't wait to get her in the room, but first, need to tell you a few things. Are you ready? It's going to be good. You ready? Okay. Well, number one, thanks for being here. I appreciate that. Second of all, today we talk to people who are amazing connectors, and this show is all about how amazing people connect. What I want you to do is start connecting with people in the comments, and start tagging and connecting with people saying, hey, you need to jump in because this show is amazing, because there's so many great people that Russ has on, amazing friends and amazing people that you need to know. So today, and Amy is definitely one of them. So jump on in today. You know that I love to connect, right? So the best way to connect with me is at russhedge.com, right? I am all about connection and community building, because I believe the basis and foundation for any good business, any good marketing plan, is connection and community building. It starts with people. As I always say, Zig Ziglar says, you build the people, and then the people build your business. How do you build people? Well, you care about them, you invest in them, you engage with them. That's how you build people, right? Care about others. So also, if you wouldn't mind subscribing on YouTube, we would just love it for you to be part of that community. You can go to marketingwithruss.live, open another tab right now, go to marketingwithruss.live, click subscribe. That will not only give you notices about upcoming content, but it'll also let you see all the past amazing guests that have been on Marketing with Russ, Russ Reels Live. I'm just excited to share those people with you. And also, like I said before, share. Hit that share button right now. You can do it. It doesn't matter whether you're watching live or on replay. I hope you're watching live, but if you're watching on a replay, you can still hit that button, because you know what? It sits on each platform. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn sits there after, to infinity and beyond after this broadcast. So really love for you to do that. So anyway, today I'm excited, and I want to make sure that you connect with Amy after this. So we'll be flashing information in the comments, and you'll see it ticking along the bottom of the screen this morning. So thank you so much for being here. Appreciate all of you. Haven't got a copy of my book yet? Befuddled, Live the Life You Choose. if you truly want to live the life you choose, grab a copy of that book on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, any online booksellers, or go to marketingwithruss.com. Just like I said before, everything is there for you. RussHedge.com. There you go. That's where you need to go. RussHedge.com to buy the book. And last week I had an amazing keynote speech to a group, and we talked all about living the life you choose and living your best life now. And I am all about that. Why wait, right? Live your best life now. So super excited. I think that is it. We're going to get Amy in the house here and start chatting. Good morning,
Woo!
Amy.
Good morning. Happy first day of spring too, right?
That's what they say. I know. I told my beautiful
like
wife. I know it. It doesn't always. Well, I live in Oregon. Yeah. So my beautiful wife was telling me that this morning. She goes, at what is it, 2 p.m. today or something? It happens magically. And I said, so that means the sun will come out, the birds will sing, the sun will shine, the flowers will bloom, everything will be awesome, right?
That's the idea. I'm holding hope.
Well, we can always hope. We can always hope. Well, my favorite day of the year is the first day of summer, which is the 21st of June, which just happens to be my birthday. So that's always a good thing. It was my birthday, and it's the first day of summer, and it's the longest day of the year. There's just so many good things around that. So,
many reasons to celebrate, right?
There you go. That's it. And speaking of celebration, you've had a little celebration lately. But before we jump into all of that exciting stuff, tell us a little bit about Amy. Who are you? I know the amazing things you're doing. Tell everybody else.
Well, I'm Amy Blaschka. I'm a social media ghostwriter. So I work with founders to help them craft their stories, to communicate and connect better, magnifying their reach and impact. And I know people think, what is it? A ghostwriter? That's cheating. And it's like, it's not the way I do it, at least. It's really more about being a conduit and helping them take all the crazy thoughts that they have and funnel them down and synthesize it into concise and compelling posts where they are sharing their insights, their experience in order to help others and attract those in their audiences to them, whether it's, partners, talent, people they're trying to hire, people they're trying to work with, investors, that sort of thing. Because as we know, people power business. And when you have the leader of a company sharing the way they move through the world as a leader, that's going to give insight into how their company culture is, how they move through the world, how they operate as a human. And that ultimately, being a human, is what's going to attract others to you. So it's worthwhile to share that.
Well, and that is such a great point, because it is about being human. It's about you individually shining forward. And I think sometimes people just have a tough time putting that into words, right? They have a tough time actually putting that down. And that's where you come in. So besides ghostwriting, give us an example. I call you up. What are some things that you can help me with as far as writing to make me look good?
I mean, this is the thing. It's really about sharing their stories, about their experience. And as you said, it's typically my clients are founders. They're very verbally fluent, right? They are used to talking, presenting, securing funding, that sort of thing. They could probably talk like a drop of a hat about anything. But oftentimes they have a very difficult time if they have to sit down and take those thoughts and translate them into written form. So I'm a thinking partner with them. I'm their buddy. I'm their right hand in terms of like just translating that and making sure. And it's also me keeping them on point, right? So when we share content, when we share about ourselves, we do want to have a purpose. We want to be intentional with what we're sharing. And a lot of what I'm doing with them is helping them share their thoughts so they are the perceived expert. They are the thought leader, right? It's their personal brands. Everything is wrapped into that. So I help them stay on course and stay consistent and have clarity in their message, have clarity in the subject matter that they're talking about. So, you, Russ, I want to talk about 800 different things, and I'm excited by it all. And I'm that kind of person too. That's great. But let's pick 3 buckets, something that you want others, make it easy for them to know what you are most passionate about, what you're expert in, right? So for instance, if I'm sharing, I share a lot about leadership. Obviously, that's what I write about, what I do. But if suddenly I'm doing that one day, the next day I'm talking about, blockchain, and after that I'm sharing my breakfast and, different things, people are going to get confused. And I like to say, if you confuse them, you lose them. And we don't want to lose people, right? We want to draw them in. We want to attract them. So the way to do that is make it very easy for others to instantly understand who you are, what you're about, who you serve, and who you don't serve, by the way. You want to make sure you're attracting the right folks. And then how you do that differently, right? What is your unique value proposition? And there's a way to do that in sharing your content and sharing more about yourself and sharing your stories. So it does attract the right people. And people don't like to hear this. It might repel some people. And that's a very strong word. But if it's not the right people, that's okay. You don't have to be all things to all people. And I think, as humans, we want to belong, we want to be accepted. So it's like, oh, I don't want to alienate anyone, but the point is you want to speak to your people, or those people that are part of the audience that you are trying to bring in and attract. And it's okay if it's not every human on the earth, right? It's all right. And that just gives them license. If they understand instantly, okay, Russ is for me, or not so much, or Amy's not really what I'm all about. That's okay. Let them keep scrolling, because you really want to be focused and being intentional with the folks that are your intended audience, the right people that you want to connect with. And the more you do that, the easier it is for the right people to find you, right? And it's easier for the people that aren't so to kind of fall away. And that's okay. And you have to be okay with that. But the more that you can be you, the easier it is for those folks to find you that are the right folks. So that's how I help in kind of keeping you on point and clarified.
Well, see, I love all that because I think what we really all need is that outside voice, that outside perspective. We all have these gigantic blind spots all around us, and we think we understand everything. But people like me that do want to do a million things, my beautiful wife, well, it started back with my mama years ago. She would say, Russell, slow down, focus in. That started when I was little. And now my wife goes, honey, slow down, focus in. You're a little befuddled at the moment. You need to slow down and you need to focus on what you're doing, because it's easy to do that. And when you get excited, and as we're both this way, but you can tell I get very excited and passionate about what I do. You do want to dump a million things on people. And I love that phrase you use, that if you confuse them, you lose them, because I am huge on simplicity, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I always achieve it, but I'm huge on, I
But
try.
that's your intent.
That's it. Sometimes you need people like Amy just going, hello. Nobody has any idea what you're talking about. Then my beautiful wife tells me that all the time. Less detail, focus, and give me the answer, because, you just set a point where you want to explain all this stuff around and you end up confusing people. When I talk to people I love and that I'm close to, just friends, I want to give all the backstory and all this kind of stuff. And my wife is going, honey,
Land the
listen, I'm bored.
plane.
Yeah. She goes, honey, listen, well, this is a story years ago that I tell all the time. I walked in the door. I was so excited. I started to tell her stuff, and she goes, whoa, hang on. She goes, so are you going to get to the point? Because really, I'm bored already. She goes, just get to the point of what you're trying to tell me. Right. So, that's true though with people. And she said that lovingly to me. She's the one that focuses me in, but people do that all the time. We get all distracted with all this peripheral information, and yet we're not focused in on what we do. And, I always tell people, I think what's so important, and I want your intake on this, so important to know exactly what you're all about. Why are you on this earth? Why did you get up in the morning, right?
Yeah,
I am here to inspire and encourage you and everybody watching to live a purpose-driven life of significance. I want to help people inspire others to be world changers, difference makers. And how do I do that? I help people learn how to connect and build community, right? How to grow their business through people. And so that is what I'm all about. And sometimes, you can spurt all that stuff out, but you got to really boil it down and keep it really simple in all that you're doing. So don't you feel like that's so many people get off track and don't even know what they're all about before they jump into everything else? That's where the confusion comes from.
Yeah. So I agree with everything you said. So I have something I call the power trifecta, which it sounds boring. It sounds exciting. Power, woo, that sounds great, because that's a nice name for it. But it has three things that most people go, it's kind of boring, but it works. So the first is clarity, right? And everything starts with clarity. And people, I'm clear. I know what I like and what I want. But really, you have to understand it, because if you ask somebody the question, what do you want? seems like a really simple question, but is not easy to answer for a lot of folks, particularly in the career sense, or like, well, what I want, well, I don't know, it's this and that. So the more that you can have clarity about your goals, about what you want, about who you serve, about what makes you different, about that, it's hard to do. But when you do the hard work to get to the clarity, everything becomes easier. So you need to have clarity about who you are, who you serve, all those things. But then in terms of content and what you're sharing, you need to have clarity of message. You need to be intentional. Well, what am I sharing? Who is this for? Why am I actually sharing anything, right? It's not just to check a box, hopefully, but it serves a purpose and aligns with who you are, right? So you have to have clarity. And I think when you said, like, a lot of people get excited, and I am excited by ideas. So I'm right there with you, Russ, but you have to focus. You have to understand that your audience can just take in just so much at one time. And the beauty of sharing and keeping it focused one idea, use that content to intrigue and draw others to you. Be a magnet, because if they like what that little snippet, that little thing that you have to say, they will want to hear more. They will connect with you. They will follow you. They will kind of take in that more of that content. It's really, the idea is to pull them in. It's not to drown them with too much that they're like, oh gosh, please stop. So clarity is really important. Everything starts with that, with the power trifecta. The second one is consistency. So consistency, that's boring. It works. It's a long game, right? Whether it's relationships or it's social media content or whatever, you put in the work, you show up, you share day after day. You're connecting with people. You're showcasing kind of how you move through the world. So consistency is super important, just to kind of regularly have that cadence. You can't just like post something and ghost and be gone, right? It's not going to work. And then the last bit is discipline. And this is sometimes the tricky part for folks, because particularly if they are excited by lots of things, you need to have the discipline not only to share stuff regularly, but stay in that wheelhouse, right? A clearly defined wheelhouse. So it, again, makes it easy for others to instantly understand what you're about. So I like to, when I'm working with my clients, I like to say there's like 3 buckets, and you could do 4 if you want, but say 3, that they are topics in kind of general areas where they want the folks that they are trying to communicate and connect with to get like, okay, that's what he or she is expert in. So, and they usually are something broad enough to encompass a lot. So for my clients, leadership might be one. So there's a lot that you can cover there. Entrepreneurship might be one. There's a lot there, but then they can get specific into industry and what they do. But the idea is that you stay and have the discipline to stay in that zone of genius. Because the more that you can share and be consistent and be clear, again, it's easier for your audience to go, and then they'll come to associate you naturally with those things when you are doing this over and over and over again. And they're like, oh, okay, I get it. That's, so if they're thinking of, oh, who do I know who knows about this? Well, if that's one of your 3 areas and you've done the work to be clear and to be consistent and have the discipline to stay there, that's going to serve you best. So that power trifecta, I'm telling you, people are like, consistency is boring, but it works. That is the way you, rather than trying to, figure out the algorithm of the day, I'm telling you, play the long game and keep doing this, and it does work.
Well, and I don't think people realize it is a long game. People, when it comes to marketing for your business, it's a long game. And I tell people all the time, anybody who jumps in and just tries stuff and then a month or 2 later they get out because it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not working because of what you just said. They weren't consistent. They weren't disciplined in what they were doing. And they have no idea why they're really doing it if they're just grabbing their marketing and advertising by accident. People do that all the time. People market by accident all the time. And,
right.
And, I love it. From the beginning, I'm an encouraging, inspiring guy. God has given me the blessing of being able to inspire and encourage people. That's what I'm all about. That's why I call myself an inspiration specialist. But, sometimes people, and I always bring that in right away to how that deals with, building people, connecting to people, building community. That is the foundation of marketing. That is my message. This is what I teach people, because anybody can give you all these gigantic 20-point plans on how to market your business. But if you have no idea why you do it, if you're not inspired to build community and connect with people so that you can have people to sell and market to, right? If there's no people, your business is going to fall off the cliff right off the bat. And that's what I'm all about, and trying to keep that simple, keep that focused. And sometimes I'm really good at that. And other times, I get too wordy and I have to rein myself in a little bit. My wife says, hold on, honey. Oh, so, but,
Well, yeah.
go ahead.
To be fair, though, you doing that just shows that you're human. And we don't need to have a perfectly curated presence, right? As much as I'm all about, and you are too, it sounds like, intentionality and having a reason behind that. Remember that people connect with people, imperfectly perfect people, right? So if sometimes, Russ, you go off or, something happens and we're human. And I think people respond better to, actual human genuineness than they do to something that is like Instagram worthy perfection. My life is all, wonderful roses and, so I think there is something to be said for, occasionally going off the rails a little bit, but knowing, but it's in the interest of like trying to be you, right? There's not a bad thing there.
Well, and I think it's excitement, energy, motivation. It does inspire people to do things, right? And I definitely don't lack in the energy department, but but I mean, it is what is so amazing to me is that so many people kind of miss the boat right off the get-go. And that's what and a lot of people don't understand why that's so important. And that's what I'm all about, right? Why is it so important to really know why I do what I do? Yeah. I mean, back when I was in business all these years, there was all this formula, right? Business formula that every corporation I worked for, they would have a statement, right? Every year that we'd put on the wall. This is our mission statement. And this is our 3 values, right? And everybody did it because they had to. Everybody didn't like those meetings. They liked the lunch they brought in that you got to have along with it, but they didn't really care, and it didn't really mean anything to them. To me, it's all more about why you do it and what your purpose is. When you start with that and you really are zoned in on that, then you're fulfilling your mission. Then you can put your objectives together and what you really want to accomplish. Because so often, and you probably hear this too, I ask people, why do you do what you do? Why are you a plumber? Well, I'm a plumber because I'm going to do the best plumbing in the Willamette Valley. That's what I'm going to do. That's why I do it. I go, nope, that's not why you do it. That's what you do. That's a good objective. That's a good goal. But why do you do it? Why do you want to do that? Well, because I've been in plumbing all this year and I thought I could make money. That's not a good reason either, right?
Yeah. A little deeper.
So I mean, a lot of times, people need to work into it. And I'm sure you find that so often people kind of, and, genuinely so. I agree with you. Being authentic and genuine in all that you do, it's just a matter of bringing people back a little bit. And I need this as much as anybody else. Bring them back, rein them in, and say, okay, think about it. Think about it. Are you passionate about what you do? Why are you doing what you're doing? Because when you identify that, everything else magically happens. And today I want to encourage people, and I'm going to give it back to you, Amy. You got to get in touch with Amy if you're having troubles identifying that, because she's a great person to talk to and able to help you bring that in and write things for you that will help you identify and get over those blind spots, because you need that outside perspective. So anyway, go ahead, Amy.
Oh, no, I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, I think it's really important. What I like to say, what you were talking about is, we talk about clarity, but I think there's a certain alignment. That's the word that needs to happen between your value set, your why, what you're doing, why you're doing it, how they all interact. So for me, you can't see this on camera, but right over here, I have an enormous whiteboard because I'm a highly visual person. And at the very top of it is my why, which is inspiring transformation. So, that's pretty broad, but everything I do, I get super jazzed in being any sort of active participant in helping somebody put their best foot forward, with their writing, or I love all the DIY shows, I'm a builder, I'm a transformer, but I can see the vision, I can see the possibility. So for me, what I'm doing is helping be part of the conduit for that active transformation. Right. And it may sound dramatic, but maybe that's me, it's like, but I love that. And that is really what I do. And, whether it's helping a client or it's through my writing, I aspire to inspire the lives of millions through my words. Right. And it's a lofty goal, but it does keep me going. And I think if you don't have the alignment with what you're doing day to day, it's a disconnect, and that incongruence will catch up with you, right? It's not really a great thing. You know in your gut if you are doing something just to do it, whether it's, well, I need the money. And there are times, to be fair, you need to do that. But I've been in roles where it's like, oh my gosh, this is killing me. This is not really what I'm meant to do. And I like to talk about putting your talents to their highest and best use. And just because you're good at something, like I was doing something, I'm great, I could do all these things. But if you're dying inside because it doesn't fulfill your why, if it doesn't connect with, your talents and why you were put on this earth, you're going to be really unhappy. You're going to be someone maybe who's earning a lot of money, but is just miserable. And that's no way to live, right?
No,
you want to create
no.
a life with intention that aligns with who you are and why you exist. That's
Exactly.
it,
Yeah.
right?
Intentionality. You just said it. Intentionality. I mean, and when I speak to young people, I always say, hey, if you hate what you're doing, if you are not loving your job, quit. And I
Yeah.
always love that because then I just let it hang and they're all looking at
Yeah.
me like, but I'm supposed to be responsible. I'm supposed to be like, okay, so be responsible and find, work your way into it. I get that. And you're right. There's a time when you have to make money to pay the bills. I get all that. And that there's nothing wrong with that. But
Yeah.
you don't want to get stuck in a life of doing things that it just kills you, like you said, to actually do it. And it is
Yeah.
so important every day for people to know, really truly know, be why they do what they do, and they have to think about that. And a lot of times they'll say, well, I love music, but who can make a living at that, right? Well, when my kids were, we have a very musical family. When my kids
Yeah.
were young, my son from the get-go was going to be a professional musician. It wasn't even a question. And we encouraged him. Same thing with my daughter. My daughter now is a worship pastor, does an amazing job, has an amazing career, and it makes a living doing it. My son is a professional musician, makes a living doing it because they followed what they were passionate about. That was what they were all about. That's why they were on this earth.
Yeah.
And so the great things happen no matter where you are. If you're
Yeah.
really following after that, you find a way, right?
Yeah. And I'd like to say I'm in that camp too, right? So well, I want to be a writer. Well, I think you need to pick, that's a hobby, right? That you need to be practical. So there are all these stories that are in my head. So I didn't start my writing practice until much later in my life, right? I had 3 decades of work experience under my belt before I really shifted fully into that mode, right? It's like, for anyone out there who thinks, oh, it's too late for me, Amy, yeah, I see what you're saying, but I could never do that. Do it. Stop hiding. I'm telling you it's possible because I'm living proof of it, right? And I have a very nonlinear career, in a family of people that are very linear. Like you do this, then you do this, then you do this. And I'm telling you, like, I think following your curiosity, following what people like say passion. Oh, we'll follow your passion. Well, yes, I'm a big passionate person, but if you follow what makes you curious, if you follow that sort of, there's something there. You will know, if something is aligned with who you are, if it's not. If something is right or if it's not. And for decades, I knew it wasn't quite right. I knew it was what I was doing was creative adjacent, right? And that's good enough. Good enough isn't good enough, folks. I'm telling you, if you take nothing else from our talk today, because today being the first day of spring, today being all about transformation, right? All these things connect with who you are. And don't let the voices in your head, the stories we tell ourselves are the most important words we speak. Make sure they're positive. Make sure they're your own. They're not some well-intended teacher or parent or someone along the way that maybe tried to dull your dreams down a little bit. Make sure if it's whatever makes you passionate, whatever gets you excited, I would encourage you to explore that further and connect with that. I feel very passionate about that because I've lived it and I know what the life was like before and I know what life is like now. And I can tell you it is worth it to take that leap.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I was actually, like you later in life, kind of shoved into by COVID, shoved into what I do full time. I loved what I did before because it was around sales and marketing. It was people I did. I
Yeah.
did enjoy it. I was in the right area, but actually doing it for myself and actually being able to be creative and get out there and do the things that I do, adding live streaming, writing a book, doing all the stuff that I was able to do came about because I was kind of shoved into it. I was a little worried about being my own entrepreneur. Could I make it? How would things go? And what's
Yeah.
amazing is I'll tell you people, it's not a perfect world, and every day is its new challenge. I'll tell you that, but it is
Yep.
true that within the first year of doing my business, I was able to match my corporate salary I had before that. Within 2 years of my business, being a little creative and doing things and staying in my lane, I was able to double. This last
Yeah.
year, my accountant and my tax prep person told me, "Hey, good for you. You doubled your income last year." And I said, "Oh, yay. That means double at taxes." So, but anyway,
You know.
I, no, I was excited, but then that was my first thought because I was talking to my tax person. But anyway, no, it's been a great journey, and God has really blessed me through all of this. But it's because I'm really passionate about what I do. Now, doesn't mean that I don't have to constantly refine what I do. Doesn't mean what I have out there I couldn't be better, because I constantly. It's a journey in this life that we live.
Yes.
It's a journey of getting better and getting clearer, because I'm all about clarity, consistency, and discipline. That's another thing that people, I'm going to jump to that middle one real quick, is because they gain some clarity and they're a pretty disciplined person, but they are not consistent in all the things they do. They say, yeah, I'm going to throw this out there and try this, and it doesn't work, and they pull it. I'm going to live stream for a month. It doesn't work. I'm going to pull it. All these kind of things. And what happens is you create no consistency in what you do. And then visibility of you and your business and all that you're doing kind of wanes, and people don't really know who you are. It's important to be consistent. And I just love all you talk about. In fact, you and I have to talk some more, because I am constantly working on these things. And I would love to have a little bit more time to talk. But okay, so time, I've let it go over because we're having such a great discussion. So tell me your gold nugget of the day, and then
Ooh,
how do people get in touch with you?
Okay, I think I've already. Okay, I have two. Can I have two? Two nuggets?
Yeah. Oh, you can have two for sure. Yeah.
Roll breaker. Okay, so I'd like to say that you should focus on your know, like, and trust factor. So, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And ding, ding, the way to do that is to follow that power trifecta of clarity, consistency, and discipline. So that's one. The second one is more personal, and it's kind of speaking to what we did before. The best 2-word advice, life advice, career advice I've ever received was stop hiding. Okay. So, deep inside what matters most to you, what you were put on this earth to do. For a long time, I was hiding, right? In the shadows, in the periphery adjacent. When I stopped hiding and stepped forward, that's when I started to shine. So stop hiding.
That's amazing. I love that. And so people want to know more. They say, "Hey, how do I get in touch with Amy? Where is she?"
She's everywhere. No, I'm on LinkedIn. That's my primary platform. I'm a social media ghostwriter. So you'll see me on Instagram under Amy Blaschka, and Twitter and the same, Amy Blaschka. But LinkedIn's my primary platform. I have a LinkedIn newsletter too. You can check out. It's called Momentum, and it's kind of just ideas to get you keep moving forward and keep progressing. And then I also have a newsletter on Substack that is called Illuminate Me, because it's really important to me to share my wisdom and help others illuminate the path for them too. So you can check that out too. And all that information is on my LinkedIn profile or on my website, which is my name, which is a lot of consonants, but it's amyblaschka.com.
Well, that keeps it simple, right? That's why I have russhedge.com. Let's keep it simple, easy for people to get with you. They will work with you if it's easy to work with you, right? And
you gotta make it easy.
Yeah, exactly. And I appreciate what you're all about. All your information has magically appeared in the comments and it's in the show notes. So everybody can just click on that and go right to Amy. And I tell you, I love what you said there. I'm all about the know, like, and trust factor. And I tell people constantly, listen, everybody, talk to Amy, get some clarity on your writing and things you're doing. If you want to talk more about visibility and the things that I do, go to russhedge.com. I'd be glad to do that. But I tell people constantly, the know, like, and trust is actually a wheel. It is not a ladder. People look at it like they've accomplished something big when they get somebody to know, like, and trust them. Woo, it's over, right? No, It is a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong project of getting people to know, like, and trust you, know, like, and trust you. Every time somebody says to me, business is awesome, I don't need to market right now, the first thing I do is look at them and go, okay.
Okay.
What's going to happen in 6 months from you now when things aren't so awesome? And a lot of people, I give a good example of that as we tie up. A good example of that are the people that were in the financial portion of housing, people buying and selling and refinancing houses. A couple of years ago, people in that business that were actually doing the loans for those businesses, they told me, everybody's refinancing. I've never made so much money. This is great. I don't have to do anything and I don't need to market right now. And then what happened? A year later, everything crashed and that stopped and people got lulled into a false security, right? Of not being active. You have got to stay in your lane. You got to keep building clarity and consistency and discipline. Like Amy says, every day that you are on this earth, that you're doing things, because your work never stops. And the rewards you get are 6 months to a year down the road of what you're doing today, right? What you do today. And I would highly recommend Momentum, Amy's LinkedIn newsletter. Love that. I just happen to have a LinkedIn newsletter too called But First Coffee, all about getting started in your day. And those are two great places for you to start, right? I always think, yes, got to get started, but first coffee. So there you go.
Yes.
So listen, I am so thankful that you were here today, Amy. You are a blessing, and truly, truly, I appreciate you. Hang tight in the green room because I'm gonna say goodbye, but I do want to chat with you for just a minute. And yeah, what a blessing. We'll have to do this again.
Sure, I'd love it. Thank you for having me.
You bet. You're welcome anytime. We'll see you in a minute. Hey, everybody. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so I am completely blessed. God has blessed me with amazing friends and amazing people like Amy, and all the people in the comments. Man, thank you for taking a moment out of your busy work schedule. People like Aaron and Katie. And today we saw Whitney and Inger, and it goes on and on and on. I mean, we've got so many people. Matt jumped in today, and I'm just so thankful. Dr. Christie was here today. Who else do we have here? Kristen Black, Bob Sager was here today. BB Kong was here today. Michael Holt, my good friend, he was here today. We had so many amazing people jumping in. I'm sorry if I missed you trying to scroll through and take a look at that, but I appreciate all of you because this is how we build community. A lot of times you can form relationships just in those comments, right? But please tune in and connect with Amy today and me if we're not connected. I'd love to connect with you, but to connect with Amy, go to all the great information we had about her connection information. There it is. Again, you can click on it. It's in the show notes. It's in the comments. It's an amazing place to start any kind of connection and community building. Just start right in the comments there and click on some things, and there you go. So thank you so much for being here today too. I just appreciate each one of you. I want to remind you, best way to get in touch with me, russhedge.com. My goal this year again is to connect with 1,000 new people. Last year, I knocked that right out of the park, and doing it again this year. And people think that's overwhelming, but you know what? I just decided to do it, so I did. It's only about 3 people a day. So it's really not as hard as people think when you break things down and you just go after your goals and all that you want to do. But first, you got to know why you do it. Don't forget that. Don't forget that. Thanks for joining us. Remember that we're here every Monday and Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. You can subscribe on YouTube at marketingwithruss.live. Please do that if you have not. Please subscribe today. I appreciate all of you for doing that. And you can still share this out. You can still share it. People that missed it, get it out there. Let people know that Amy was amazing and you need to have that information. So I think that's it for today. Until we see you next time on Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie, which is this coming Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Have a great day and a great life. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Marketing with Russ, aka #RussSelfie. Be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast app so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an amazing day.